you decorating for Valentine's on a tiny, tiny budget? Well, stay tuned. Hi, my name is Leslie and welcome to Happy Tuesday, where we do crafts and DIY and home decor and more. Today I have for you 6 creative and very budget-friendly ideas that you can DIY to give your home all the love for Valentine's Day. Now, don't forget to stick around until the very end and I'll have a hint on one of next week's projects. So, let's get started. Here's a quick sneak peek into all 6 of today's projects. I am so excited for these. And that will bring us to project number 1. You guys know I love my little cottage houses. So let's grab our scrap wood pile and see what we've got in there. Found a cute little block and this little MDF piece I must have cut for something else, and we are going to trim that down using our miter box and saw, lickety split just like that. Give it a quick little sand, and just like that we have a little house. Now, if you don't have one already set for you, you know those scrap pieces can be cut to make little house lookalikes. And we're going to grab our wood filler and just fill in that little line there. And now we are going to grab our wire. This is 16 gauge wire I bought in a pack from Walmart, I believe it was, and I've been using this for quite some time. Then I grabbed my supply of little hearts and found just the one that I thought I wanted. And that's going to be kind of like the lamppost over my little house. Now that we've got that wire trimmed off, let's grab our handy dandy little pink drill and the right drill bit for that wire piece. We're going to pop a little hole in there just next to the house so that our wire lamppost has a place to sit. That is much easier than trying to glue it onto that block of wood. Once we get that all situated, I'm going to take my little jewelry pliers, and I bought those at the Dollar Tree, and I am going to get my little lamppost ready. Now, I thought maybe I could drill a hole in the top of that heart, but I didn't grab the right kind of hearts for those. I will use them later in another project that I could have grabbed for this. But instead, I grabbed 2 of these little Dollar Tree hearts. They come in a huge pack of little skinny hearts, and I am going to glue those together with some hot glue, and then I'm going to grab my Dollar Tree caulk, and we are going to caulk all the way around this to give it that look of a fuller, thicker heart. And then we will sand all the extra off and grab our red chalk paint and just give it another color, and that will again make it look like it's a thicker heart. Then we are going to grab sandstone. This is a Waverly color chalk paint. It's one of my favorite off-white colors. Let me know which is your favorite off-white color. You could tell me in the comments below. And we're going to give this kind of a heavy-handed dry brushing, making sure that we have pretty good coverage but not full coverage. You know, give it that rustic kind of look. And then I am taking my plaster color and painting the house except for the roof. And the roof we are going to do our rustic weathered kind of dry brushing, starting off with some silver lining chalk paint, then coming in with a little bit of truffle. Then we are going to add a little bit of plaster, a little bit of ivory maybe, you know, just the look until we get it that right aged look. And you can just kind of play with how you want it to look. Next, I'm looking for a little scrap piece that I can use for the door. And I find that and trim that down. Now, of course, I will save all the tiny little bits because you never know when you're going to need them. And I think one of these tiny little bits I'm going to bring back out here in a minute and use for the shutters. Now, I went ahead and grabbed my truffle chalk paint. That is a Waverly color. And I am going to give this door a real cursory painting. And then I'm going to come back in with my baby wipe, kind of like I do with the antique wax, and just wipe some of that off. And then we are going to use a quick dry brush of pool That's this light blue color. I love the way it looks, really weathered with that dark wood. So you can either stain it and do it, or like I did. And then I came in with my black chalk paint marker, and I outlined the window, and I'm not sure why I did, and then I painted it in. And we're going to come back in with a pool again to outline that. Then here's one of those scrap pieces of wood, and we are going to make some little shutters. So I gave that a quick little coat of some antique wax, and then we're going to come back in with a little bit of pool and give that nice weathered look to match our door. And those will go on either side of our window. Then we're coming in with a real fine detail brush and some of that pool colored paint to outline our window. That gives it that cohesive look. Now you can use whatever color you want. Then I grabbed a little screw from out in my husband's stash of screws and made that our chimney. And then we're going to use these nice little letters I bought from Hobby Lobby and a navy ink pad, and we are going to put on here Home Sweet Home. Then we'll attach our house and attach our little lamppost, and this project is complete. I love how it turned out, and I just think it is adorable. The last little thing I did, in case you missed that, was I grabbed some silver paint and just painted the screw. It was a goldish kind of color, and it didn't really go. I just wanted to pop in here real quick and tell you how much I appreciate you. Whether this is your first time here or you're a regular subscriber, I am so grateful that you choose to spend your time with me. Now, if this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Give today's video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Now, let's get back to crafting. Here we are at project number 2. I love this one so much. And guys, it was super simple to make. So I have this red craft wire that I bought on clearance at Michael's a couple of years ago, or maybe it was Hobby Lobby, I don't remember, but it was a Christmas craft wire, and I've used some of it in the past, made projects with it, and so I had some scrap there sitting on top that I'm going to use first. And all I am going to do is fashion some little wire hearts in various sizes. Now you're wanting your wire to be kind of on the straighter side to begin with, and then you'll kind of fold it in half, and I used my jewelry pliers there from the Dollar Tree to kind of give my point in my heart at the top. And here I'll show you just a little bit slower version of that. So you're going to make that in half and then pinch that together, so that will give you your center of your heart, and then you'll just wrap your wires on either side, giving them that kind of heart bump, and then bring them together at the end. And once you have all your various sizes of hearts done, then we are going to just hot glue these on here. Now I tried a couple of different things to glue or secure, I guess, the bottom of the hearts before I did this, and none of it worked. I tried gluing them with hot glue, I tried gluing them with super glue, I tried gluing them with Gorilla Glue, I tried soldering them. None of it was working. So I just decided that we will put the heart together with the glue on the base and make this little 3D version of this little heart sign here. Now the sign part of it I got on clearance at Michael's. And that will bring us to project number 3. This one literally cost me nothing. So I had this heart in my craft supplies and decided that I was going to use it as the outline for my heart. And I am going to cut 2 of these out of this cardboard. That way it gives the heart a little bit of stiffness. And so I will draw the outside edge and cut that out, and then I am going to take a ruler to measure out the inside part of the heart. I didn't have another heart that I could find right off that you know, kind of was the measurement I was looking for to use as an outline. So I'm just taking this little ruler and marking it off just a little bit over an inch, and then I'll take my utility knife there again, and we will cut that out, and then I'll cut out a second one using this as the pattern. Then I am grabbing some pine cones. Now, last year, was it last year? Maybe it was the year before. I made a video all about things that you can do with pine cones, and I have cut the pine cones with these wire cutters once before. So if you want more detail on that, I'll pop that video down in the description box below. You can see that one. But what we're doing is taking the pine cone and kind of making little pine cone flowers out of them. So you'll notice that I'm popping those little pieces over there to my left, and what I'm doing is I have a little container. I keep all those tiny little pieces, and I use those for crafting as well. So we're going to use our handy dandy little cutters here from Harbor Freight, and we are going to trim out some of those little pieces so I can get the wire cutters in there more securely, and then I'm going to have to snip it just a little bit at a time because that pine cone is pretty sturdy and it becomes a little bit more difficult to cut even with these heavy duty wire cutters. So we're just going to snip, snip, snip until it all comes apart. And there you've got the little flower, and we'll set that other aside. We'll trim that into the scrap pile here in a minute. And then we will continue making flowers. Now I'll set those kind of on my form as I go along, making sure that I have the number that I need as well as the size that I need in order to get complete coverage. Now initially I didn't paint this cardboard, but you'll see I come back in and change my mind here in a minute. So I'm going to take those two and some wood glue by Super Glue and some little clamps, and we are going to glue that heart together. And then I'm just taking some hot glue. Now I use Gorilla Hot Glue, to put this little pine cone on there. And I noticed that our cardboard there was kind of poking out more than I wanted it to. So I grabbed some of my little scraps and I'm gluing those in there, and it's giving me kind of the coverage I wanted, but not really. So next I'm going to come in with another pine cone and see if I can make that work, and decide, nope, that's not going to work either. And that's kind of how crafting goes. You know, you have something in your head that you think it's going to work out, and then it doesn't really work out exactly as you thought it might in your head. And so you have to just punt, kind of, you know, plan B or C or D, whichever plan you end up coming to. Now you can see that this one didn't lay flat like I wanted it to, so I'm just coming in with those little wire snippers. I'm not even sure if they are wire snippers. Anyway, those little snippers I got from Harbor Freight, and I'm just trimming the bottom off so that it can become a little bit more flush. And it still wasn't sitting exactly flush the way I wanted it to, so I used some of those little scrap pieces and tucked those under. And here's where I decide, you know what, this just isn't giving it the look I want it to have. So you know what we're going to grab? We are going to grab some spackling, or you could use caulk or whatever wood filler or whatever you happen to have available, and we're going to kind of fill in that little gap where the cardboard is on the outside, kind of like we did on our heart on that first project. And once we've gotten that done with the inside and the outside, then we are going to grab some truffle chalk paint, and we are going to paint this whole cardboard piece. And that truffle color really matches well with our pine cones, and then I didn't have any more worries about filling in or what was being seen, other than just trying to make sure that the pine cone sat down flat and was covering that cardboard in the way that I wanted. So we're going to go ahead and get all these glued down, and once they are, then I am going to take just a couple more of those little pine cone pieces and fill in and make sure that we just have the perfect coverage that we want and everything is laying down the way we want it to. And here it is, all complete, and I just love this so much, and it really goes with the whole rustic vibe of my house, and I think it's a natural progression between kind of winter and Valentine's Day, and it's also really neutral. And that will bring us to project number 4. I love this one too. It's kind of got that whole rusticy neutral vibe. Now, I had these little tin hearts in my craft supplies. If you don't, then you see that cardboard piece that I'm cutting the little heart out of. You could just grab some cardboard like that and rip that top layer off, and you'll have that same kind of look, with the corrugated pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and use that wood heart as just my pattern there and cut out this little piece here. And what I did is I just wanted to kind of vary the colors and textures of this heart to create a nice little heart bundle. So I have this other heart, it's an MDF heart from Dollar Tree, and on the other side it's kind of got that wood slat look, but that wasn't the look I wanted for this, so I'm going to use the back side. And then this one, I ripped it apart for some other project. I'm not sure what, but that was last year and it's been sitting around, so I thought that was just a perfect use for it. So we're going to use that heat gun and get all those little pieces off. And then this one I had to unscrew. Now let's go ahead and get some painting done. So we are going to dry brush this heart with a little bit of white, and that's Snow White color by Waverly. And we're just going to dry brush it a little bit on the inside, a little bit on the outside. Then we're going to grab this ballet slipper color. It's also a Waverly color, and add a little bit more dry brushing to just give it a slight tinge of pink. Then this first wood heart, I am going to grab my antique wax and a baby wipe and go ahead and give it that kind of faux wood stain color. I love using antique wax. It's water-based, so you don't have the smell of stain, and it also dries really quickly. And then we're also going to give this a real quick dry brush of that Snow White color and a little bit of edging on the outside just to make it kind of pop there. Once we've got that one done and we see how it matches with our other heart, we're going to take this first metal heart, and I am going to rough it up a little bit with some sandpaper. And then I read that you can rust up galvanized metal with vinegar, so I stuck it in a plastic tub with some vinegar and set that aside. And then we are going to take this MDF heart and kind of make a little buffalo check pattern, just freehand, kind of rustic, really rustic looking, and then maybe darken that up after we kind of have the basis for it and see where it goes. Now, honestly, you're not going to see a whole lot of that once that other metal heart covers it up. This metal heart, I decided I was going to kind of give it that rusted paint with painting it, a rustic look by painting it. So I'm going to get the rest of all that paper off, and then we're going to come in with some red to start and this little dauber brush that I got from the Dollar Tree. And honestly, guys, I'm not real happy with these. They were leaking little pieces of the fibers of the paintbrush all over my paint, and I kept having to pick at it, but it's what I had to work with for right now. So I grabbed a little bit of truffle and a little bit of that silver lining, and then we're going to add some sandstone and some more truffle and some more red, and just keep dabbing on the paint until we get it the color we wanted. So you can see that sat in there for about 2 hours and nothing happened. So I'm grabbing my Morton salt and some hydrogen peroxide, and look at that, I am getting that rust look, and this is in real time, guys. So you can see how quickly that rust look starts with that hydrogen peroxide and the salt. So we're just going to let that sit there, and you can do this as much or as little and let it sit as long as you want until you achieve the rust look that you want. Now I grabbed some paper towel to kind of wipe it off, and it did wipe off some of that rust. So I went back in with my heat gun and dried it off real good, and then we're going to give this a little quick dry brush of some white just so that it matches with all the rest of my pieces. And now we are going to put this together, hot gluing all the pieces together, and we'll take our little screws and screw that piece back together as well. And once we get all these pieces hot glued together, then I am going to grab some, it's that big dish towel thing from tea towel from Dollar Tree, and wrap that around and stamp it with the word love. Gave it a nice little knot there, and this will be a nice little shelf sitter. It just kind of leans against the wall, and I love, love, love the way this looks. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever rusted up anything? Let me know that too. What worked for you? And that brings us to project number 5. Now this whole project was actually kind of inspired by these wooden arrows that I bought at the Dollar Tree last year and didn't do anything with them. So I'm going to take, now this is a piece of the inside of a wrapping paper roll from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make a little quiver. So you could either do that with a piece of stiff paper, maybe some cardstock, or you could do maybe some cardboard if you didn't have the inside of a paper towel or a roll there. A paper towel roll won't be wide enough. Or you could use some of that faux leather if you happen to have that on hand from the Dollar Tree, and make your quiver out of whatever material you have available. That helps to keep things nice and affordable. So I think for this whole video today, I know I spent $0, but if you were to buy everything, you still would have very little money into all of today's projects. So we are going to use that wood glue by Super Glue that you can get at the Dollar Tree to trim my seams together, and I'm holding that bottom together with a couple little clips until that dries. Once that top piece dries, then we're going to go ahead and trim it off and make it flush. And then I'm going to use these arrows and this long skewer stick from Dollar Tree and measure off some additional arrows. I decided to make 7 to go inside my quiver. 3 of these I'm going to just do as the top part, kind of the arrow part, but I'm going to use hearts. And then the other 2 I am going to do just the bottom part. So I grabbed my handy dandy little nail file and trimmed down, because my wood hearts are not quite as thick as my skewer sticks, and I wanted to be able to put those in there. Of course, grab my handy dandy drill to make a hole, and some of that wood glue to make it stick. And then I made this little messy bow with some ribbons that I had on hand, and put Be Mine on this little tea towel piece as the bottom. And then we're going to grab some of these feathers and glue those on as the feather tip of these 2 arrows, and that will be all there is to this project. I also did grab a little bit of ribbon and put it around the top part of that quiver, and you could also use a little bit of twine and make it a holder, kind of like the strap that they use when they have arrows in a quiver. And here it is. I think this turned out so adorable. Just love it so much. And no worries if you guys haven't found those arrows in your Dollar Tree, you can just make your own. And that will bring us to project number 6. I have to say, this is my favorite. I can already hear you guys chatting about me bringing in the yard debris again. So I went out, and on the back side of our fence, we have all of these grapevines. And of course, you know, they're kind of dead-ish right now. And so I took my little wire cutters and snipped off a bunch of pieces. And that's what I brought in the house. And I'm going to use about 10 or 11 of these pieces for each side. And I'm just going to bundle them up. And so one end, they're kind of all flush together. And the other end, you know, they kind of have that whimsical look, but not terribly long. So you want them, you know, about the same-ish size. And then we are going to bundle those together using a little bit of wire. We're going to bundle it in 2 places, one at the top and one near the bottom, leaving about 2 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and twist this around with the wire. I've wrapped it a couple of times, and then we'll twist it and make it really tight there. And then we're going to come in once we've gotten that situated with a little bit of twine and wrap the twine around. I decided I didn't want to have all that long piece hanging there, so we're going to trim that off. But we're going to take probably about a 12-inch, 15, 18-inch maybe piece of twine, and we're going to wrap that around and then double knot it on the front, and then trim that off. And then we're going to go to the bottom part. You know, you want to make sure if you're going to cut these that you don't just use dead twigs, and that's why grapevine works so well, because it really is kind of malleable, moldable. And we're going to come down not quite to the end, so you're probably going to leave probably 8 inches or so on the bottom here, and I'll show you that in a minute. We're going to do the same thing, securing it with the wire, and then putting a little bit of this twine on top and trim that off. And once we have both sides done, then we're going to take the bottom, and you can see I've got a good 8 or 12 inches there down at the bottom on some of it. And the whole middle part, I'm guessing, is probably about 2 feet in length. So all total, you know, probably about 36 to 40 inches were the pieces that I cut. So once we've gotten the bottom put together with some wire and twine and secured those 2 pieces together, then we are going to bring this heart around and then secure those top pieces. Now you can see I grabbed another piece of twine and secured my top piece to my bottom piece. And we're going to fix that in a minute, but I just wanted to hold it, kind of it, to get some memory on this shape before we move on. Then I grabbed one of these little picks. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby on clearance. It was originally $2. I got it for like 20 cents when they had that 90% clearance, and I picked a couple of these up. And we are just going to break these all apart and wrap those around. And then I also grabbed a little bit of red pitberry and wrapped that around as well. Now you can see, even without doing anything further, once I take that off, it still does have a pretty good heart shape. But we're going to bring that down, and then near the top part, we're going to wrap some more wire. So you'll see right here in a second, I'm going to grab off a good length of that wire, and we're going to pull those 2 pieces together, and then close to the end, we are going to wrap the wire around and around, and then secure it good and tight. And I'm going to grab those jewelry pliers here in a second once I've gotten that little end started there, twisting it around. I'll grab those jewelry pliers, and we're going to twist it around and around and around so that it gets really tight. Be careful you don't twist it around and around and around too tight, or you'll break it right off, and then you'll have to start over again and ask me how I know that. Wink, wink. I'm guessing you guys have probably figured that out. So we're going to go ahead and get that really nice and tight there, and make sure that you're able to pull your pliers out so you don't want it too terribly tight. And just like that, it all sticks together, and then we can, put any pieces that are flying away. You can either trim those off or tuck those in, and this is complete. I just love this so much. I love the whimsy of it. I love just the simpleness of it. And I love the fact that with all the supplies that I did purchase at some point, it literally cost me less than $2. And here's a final look at all of today's projects. I love these so much. I had so much fun making them. I love the simplicity of everything, and yet it just makes my heart smile. Let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite today, or which one you would like to try to recreate. Also, if you do make one of my creations or just have a question about something, feel free to send me an email at happytuesdaydiy@gmail.com. I just love hearing from you guys. It really does make my day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do enjoy our time together. Now, since you stuck around till the very end, here's your hint on one of next week's projects. You are going to need some cardboard, a cup of some sort, some wire, and some coffee beans. But until then, make it a great day and Happy Tuesday!